Miguel Yee, for those of you who don't know. And today I'll be giving you an informational presentation on why marijuana is still a scheduled substance. So, how many of you have been exposed or heard of marijuana? Almost everybody. So in today's society, marijuana is a trending topic. Its presence in advertisement, movies, and even music is what's causing so much attention to be brought over the efforts to legalize / reschedule marijuana. No, sorry. The Controlled Substance Act was passed in 1970 by the Nixon administration. Its purpose is to regulate the importation, manufacturing, possession, distribution, and use of all drugs. The drugs are scheduled from 1 through 5, 1 being the most dangerous, and 5 being the least. The definition of a Schedule I substance is a drug that has no medicinal benefits, high potential for abuse, and is harmful to the community. A Schedule V substance has low potential for abuse and has some medicinal benefits. So marijuana is considered a Schedule I drug, and Assistant Secretary of Health, Dr. Robert stated that the only reason marijuana was scheduled as a Schedule I substance was due to the considerable void in our knowledge about it. So, the Controlled Substance Act led to the war on drugs. The main purpose of the war on drugs was to create a national drug control from the 1960s, the late 60s. However, former domestic policy chief John I can't pronounce his name, said that the true purpose of the war on drugs was to regain control of the U.S. and the next presidential term. So to achieve this goal, the Nixon administration associated anti-war supporters with marijuana and blacks with heroin. And by criminalizing both drugs heavily, the administration could disrupt both those communities, thus helping them achieve their goal of regaining control of the U.S. So from the years of 1980 to 1989, there were some interesting results from the war on drugs. There was a significant increase in arrests, incarcerations, and funding. There was a staggering amount of people penalized and placed in jail for an exaggerated amount of time, and most of these people were minorities. In addition to this, funding for the war on drugs increased about $5.2 billion. So another reason why marijuana is still a Schedule I substance is due to anti-marijuana lobbyists. There are 5 main groups: big pharma companies, alcohol and tobacco companies, private prisons, police unions, and prison union guards. So the reason why these groups are at the forefront to fight against pro-marijuana bills and petitions is because of all the money they'll lose. So big pharma companies would lose millions of dollars if marijuana was legal, because they would no longer have patients that are prescribed like opiate drugs, opiate-based drugs. So anything from like painkillers to basically just painkillers. Alcohol and tobacco companies fear they would lose a lot of money in the legal drug industry. Private prisons and police unions will get. Private prisons and police guard unions will get less funding because they'll no longer have that many people in prison. And police unions will lose money because they won't have federal grants to fight marijuana. So there's been a handful of cases and petitions brought to the federal court and to the DEA to reschedule marijuana. Unfortunately, all these efforts have failed. In one of the most recent cases, Alliance for Cannabis Therapeutics versus the DEA, their petition was rejected for 3 main reasons. Most of the data presented was by users, so the court deemed the users an unreliable source. Doctors cannot vouch on their oath that the medical practices they were researching were accepted in the U.S. And rescheduling the drug will result in significant altercations to state and federal laws. So my solution to this is to legalize marijuana. So with newly found research conducted by the DEA, FDA, and other universities, found that marijuana does have an abundant amount of medicinal purposes. Marijuana can help with diseases such as cancer, to AIDS, to simple things like headaches and glaucoma. In addition to this, recent states who have accepted marijuana for recreational and medicinal purposes all have positive benefits. So I believe Colorado last year made over $70 million in tax revenue solely on marijuana taxation. And that amount of money was too much for their state to handle. So what they did is they had to decide where the money would go to. So they were deciding from education to police, firemen, and they ended up making a scholarship for students. And I believe over 200 students really received a $1,000 scholarship for higher education. So making marijuana legal would of course come with a significant amount of reform. So marijuana would have to have laws set in place to check it, similar to alcohol and tobacco. And that's my solution. But is there any questions?
So I know in sociology we talked about how like people who are in jail are usually like because of marijuana or because of like small doses of drugs. And how do you think legalizing marijuana would help like raise
So there'd be less people incarcerated for small drug charges. So there's even less people in jail.
So do you think they should just like increase like the amount that it would take them to go to jail, or do you think they should just like leave it?
Personally, I believe they should legalize it just because if they just raise the limit, there's still going to be some sort of leeway for the government to arrest people if they have different charges or even make them up.
I don't know if like this is just like a question, but like it's like, do you find it like funny that like they have like they make with tobacco and alcohol, which like have like more, I guess like kind of like more damaging effect to like a person like legal and like not marijuana?
I find it interesting that the government would have those drugs legalized even though they have a lot of negative side effects. But kind of there's like an inside job somewhere within the government, kind of like conspiracy theory. That the reason why marijuana is
So how's your proposed solution about legalizing marijuana going to affect the people already like incarcerated as we speak for marijuana charges?
Well, hopefully if marijuana does become legalized, the state governor would provide them with some sort of amnesty and release them from jail for a crime that is no longer legal.
Okay, so it's kind of like another conspiracy thing, but do you think like some cops like let people get away with it? Because you know like weed brownies and stuff, and like when you make it, it has a strong smell. And like when you go past certain places like in Bridgeport where I live and stuff, like you can smell it pretty strongly. But like no one says anything, and there's a huge police station in my neighborhood. So do you think like some cops like back in the 70s, like, you know, they just let it fly?
Well, I can't speak much back in the 70s just because I wasn't alive back then. But yeah, there are a lot of cops who turn a blind eye to it simply just because they don't believe in it being a harmful drug, and a lot of other times because they don't want to go through writing all that paperwork for a plan.
Even if you legalize marijuana, what about the people who get addicted to it?
So marijuana does not have any addictive properties within it.
So you're telling me you can't be addicted to marijuana?
The reason why people are addicted to cereal is because of sugar.
You can be addicted to Cheerios. I don't think that's that much sugar.
You should be addicted to
You
anything.
can be addicted to anything. Marijuana, you can be addicted to that too. So what are you supposed to do about that?
So there's a low potential for abuse of marijuana that has been found in a lot of studies that I don't know by name, but we can do my